Hey guys, it's me, Slugdog, here to show you guys off the new hardest Yorick tech in the new split. Not masturbating to me. I know that half of you guys jerk off to me. Don't lie. The only difference now is that between a few months ago and currently, it's not gay now. Depending on your political alignment, of course. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, welcome into the Season 14 Split Bonanza. We've got a lot of indirect changes and buffs to us, so get your new panties on, get your pants on, get your underwear on, because you're gonna be piss shitting your pants with all these crazy amazing changes. Because I just wanna say straight off the bat, if you're a BRUISER YORICK main, you're gonna have a good time, and if you're thinking about getting into Yorick but was scared because oh my god, what the heck? Goose, maiden, what are all these effects? Well, don't worry, because Yorick is better and easier than ever before. No, seriously, like, Yorick is one of the best champions to get into right now. Like now. I don't know how to transition from here, but like, well, I know how to transition. I got estrogen. The first thing I want to talk about is a quality of life change as a major buff for Yorick. Towers previously didn't give you the local gold or play if you're far away, even if your pets like ghouls and maiden destroyed that tower. This was an extremely frustrating thing where you'd have your ghouls hit a play and it wouldn't even get you the money. But now it's always guaranteed provided they damage a tower, that they damage that tower in the last 10 seconds. 10 seconds! That's how long I last in bed. That shit is so long. The next thing I want to talk about is the huge nerf to Ravenous Hydra, dealing less passive Tiamat damage and having its active lifesteal almost halved, and the damage reduced. This now no longer makes playing against Ravenous Hydra champions like Fiora, Trinumia, and Camille one of the Yorick's hardest matchups, all almost instant losses. Last split, they won Ravenous Hydra in the first two items, and when they fought you, they were just Ravenous against the Ghouls and Maiden, and I'm not joking, heal their entire health bar. And because of this, it makes three incredibly hard matchups a lot easier. So from now on, anytime you play against Ravenous Hydra, you're not forced to go Executioners, and you're not forced to get your anal cream ready. Another gigantic, huge, phallic-shaped buff is the nerf to Frozen Heart. Frozen Heart now only affects champions instead of all nearby enemy units. This is a giant buff because now Ghouls and Maiden won't be affected by Frozen Heart. This was previously really broken against Yorick, and there was a few matchups that are straight up unwinnable if they win this item early. For example, the Irelia matchup. Already one of the most bullshit matchups in League of Legends, but when she went bulk Frozen Heart, not only does she Q and kill your entire family, she also turns him into good old grandpa, and poor old grandpa can't do anything no more, you know? These are already two huge changes that launch Yorick's strength from like a pile of dog shit to a more intimidating pile of dog shit. This is particularly really helpful with the matchups, especially in the mid game, where Yorick previously in the last split fell off in strength a lot just because these items are so good against Yorick. Another huge change, or quite the opposite, another huge thing that didn't really change much as the split has gone on, is a lot of Yorick's main items, even if they have a lot of stat nerfs or like little effects changes, a lot of the BRUISER items that Yorick goes, they haven't changed pretty much at all. For example, Cleaver Trojan Leandries. Cleaver lost 15 AD, which is whatever because Yorick never used stats like AD that effectively. He uses the effects a lot more effectively. Leandries lost 10 AP. 10 AP? What a fucking joke! We literally don't even use any AP in our kit anyways, except for E. Yeah, don't get me started on AP Yorick. I'm gonna beat you guys up if you do. And Trojan is the item that's affected the most, but it's still very effective, especially as a 4th or 5th item, having that same effect, just no longer having abilities for your ult, which kinda sucks early on. Now, I've been saying it and hyping it up since the beginning, but BRUISER YORICK is the best it's ever been, and honestly, I believe that Yorick is genuinely one of the most, he's in one of the best positions he's been in a really long time. Which leads me to the next surprising thing that I didn't really expect. Triforce Yorick is the best Yorick build now. Yeah, Triforce. Nobody could have predicted this except for maybe your grandma, but Triforce ate incredibly small nerfs while still having an insanely powerful effect. This makes it a really effective first item. It ate little nerfs in the stats and AD attack speed and a few other stats, but the health increase is actually really good for Yorick because Yorick can get beefed up earlier and get more DPS. And long fights, obviously, ghouls, maiden, no one's beating that at level 6 with Triforce. Well, not level 6, but when you get your Triforce. Another thing that is really good for BRUISER YORICK is the change to Grudge losing its lethality, but having more flat pen and its price reduced. This makes it a lot more solid as just a singular item purchase you can slap into any build. Previously, Grudge was, a good item to throw in any build, but obviously it much incentivized building lethality. Now, 30% armor pen? Oh, fuck it. Slap in my bruiser build, slap in my tank build, slap my ass for all I care. Okay, that I don't know why I said that. That's not even in the script. The third change that's really good is that Hullbreaker didn't even get any nerfs. It got a few changes. Basically, it lost a bit of AD, but it got health increased and it incentivized building health, which increases the proc damage. And the reason this is really important is because Hullbreaker combined with Triforce Grudge, which had 2 items that are already considered one of the best split pushing items. Now you have 3 insanely strong split pushing items, and your 1v1 strength is ridiculous. This is the strongest tower pushing build on Yorick in a while. It has ridiculous damage in 1v1, it's healthy because Triforce and Hullbreaker got increases in health, and it's pretty ridiculous when you think about it. Almost every item in the game got nerfed, but these items either barely got touched or straight up buffed. Ghoul damage is high because of the Grudge. Yorick's damage is so low with Triforce Hullbreaker, can just rip people in half. The best thing about this build as well is the fact that everyone who got their items nerfed, they're going to be doing a lot less damage to you, and you're going to be a lot tankier because Triforce and Hullbreaker got more health, right? So you actually be a lot more deceptively tanky than last split, and you're just going to be annihilating in damage. The next amazing thing that didn't quite get buffed but got changed, but in my opinion is now a lot more interesting and actually really good, is Iceborn Gauntlet. For the last year or so, since the Season 14 update has arrived, Iceborn has been a very mediocre option. It doesn't give enough damage, and it's overshadowed by Stridebreaker, which was just an effective BRUISER item that did essentially the same thing, except it gave you a lot more movement. Now I can safely say Iceborn is actually really decent, and it's decent not because you can fit it in your ass, but because they increased the damage by 50%. 50%! That's like only 25% less damage in total compared to Triforce. This is a huge buff to the damage and makes it a very solid first item to build. You're no longer gonna have the problem where if you build this first item against the enemy will just out-sustain you and kinda just bully you because you don't do enough damage. They also made the slow a consistent 30%, which is a buff in the early game. Overall, it's just a much better item now to go, especially in tankier bruiser builds, and honestly, it absolutely pulverizes matchups like Trinity, who ironically got indirectly nerfed because of their Ravenous Hydra changes and the increase in prices for a lot of the crit items. Meanwhile, us Yorick things are just chilling, making out with each other with these buffs. All this combines with Yorick being pretty damn good, and one of the champions are largely unaffected by the patch, while some champions have been butchered. Many of these items that were good before are still good now, and he's so good in fact right now that I'm willing to say he's one of the best champions to get into for the new split. Now that's enough goodness I've talked about. I'm gonna start going through the bad stuff about this patch. And this first thing is one thing that's been absolutely horrific and terrorizing my nightmares the past week. And it's the fact that, I hate to say it, I'd rather get my balls stepped on or play the Jax matchup 10 times in a row blindfolded. I'd rather come out again, honestly, than admit that Grasp is finally good. Yes, Grasp is now officially great. Fuck, I hate saying it. I have to admit it, but it's actually a solid option. Slug dog, I knew it all along. You've been lying to us, you dirty whore. You fucking slut. We fucking knew it all along. What do you know, you dumb bitch? You're not even good at Yorick. You're not even good at Yorick. All you ever be talented for is for sucking cock and showing a slutty buddy on Twitter. Thank you, random guy on Twitter. Anyways, could you repeat that again? Sorry, I got sidetracked. Sorry, guys. But yeah, Grass is really good now. There's been a big meta shift with BRUISER YORICK now being so strong and having such a good mid game. Grass is a really solid option against champions like Fiora or Camille that like short trading against you in the early game. Grass helps you scale well and scale better because the Bruiser build now builds a lot of health, synergizing with Triforce and having Hullbreaker, and as well as the potential to build more health later down the line if you want to flex for 5th and 6th item. You're using Grass as a very strong early game tool that is very decent. For example, like I said in the Fiora and Camille matchup, when Camille W's you, when Fiora queues up to you to get a vital, if you have Grass and respond back, it can sometimes just even out the trade or even win you the trade if you space it well. And this dynamic, changing this specific dynamic interaction, can really make things a lot easier. Another reason why Grasp is so good now, it's a lot better, is because we usually went Inspiration secondary a lot of times with the Grass setup, and it was good before. You know, we could go approach Velocity, which is one of Yorick's best runes, especially in Bruiser builds, where chasing enemies can be a bit of a struggle. This is already one of the Yorick's strongest combos in runes, but the second thing that changed that's really good is with Biscuits, believe it or not. Biscuits used to give you mana permanently and was a really effective way to just deal with not having mana in the early game if you struggled with it, especially for the more beginner Yoricks or the Yorick that misses a lot of ease. Ninetales. Now, Biscuits give you a permanent health, which is a lot better because now it's essentially extra pots in laning phase. And also, it makes you a lot beefier in the game, synergizing with Grasp. It gives you the potential as well that I've actually found doing a lot of the games where you can pot and Biscuit when you're really low HP, and because Biscuit scales off missing health in its regen, you can bait enemies really easily and outplay them. This rune page is incredibly powerful and the strongest it's ever been since a lot of top laners mid-game have gotten a lot worse due to Ravenous nerfs and just general Bruiser item nerfs. So surviving and winning your early game to get to this point is a lot more important so that you can get your mid-game spike and pound ass. Obviously, all the other options are still really effective, like Conqueror, Comet, and Hail Blades, and honestly, Conqueror is still what I prefer. It's more versatile, and since it gives you so much all-in damage, I can't not go Conqueror, I'm sorry guys. But I do want to say, if you struggle in the early game, especially trading against the enemy against melee champions, Grass is now very solid, especially if you go in Bruiser. All of this comes with a price. The final thing, and the worst thing that has come at the cost of Yorick now finally being good, and BRUISER YORICK being so powerful, is that they took Lethality Yorick, you know, they brought Lethality Yorick to a nice date, and after the date, they took it to a nice sunset, and they fucking shot it in the head. Yes, Riot has absolutely killed Lethality Yorick. There are two drastic changes that they have done that heavily, in my opinion, heavily nerfs Lethality Yorick. And although I still think it's definitely playable and it's pretty good against squishy team comp still, if you don't play Lethality Yorick well, if you're not the best Yorick in the world, not Slugdog me, I can safely say that this playstyle is not only way too hard to learn and get used to, and it's not even worth learning. It's just generally worse than BRUISER YORICK unless you get really good Lethality Yorick and can play Yorick just at a base kit amazingly. Now let's talk about the two drastic changes, okay? First, they took away up to 50% of the AE ratio of Profane Hydra. This removes so much of the burst combo damage of Profane. This is a giant nerf, and it hurts Yorick's wave clear too, which is a big strength of Profane Hydra. Oh, and they also nerf the passive cleave effect, so it's less AoE and it does less damage. Yay, we can wave clear, how nice, thank you Riot. The second change is that even the Grudge did get reverted to having flat armor pen and it no longer scales lethality, and it's a bit cheaper. Grudge no longer having lethality is really bad for Lethality Yorick. This makes the Lethality Yorick scale a lot slower and worse because you don't have that extra lethality from old Grudge now, which help broke certain thresholds to get the enemy's armor really low to the point where you're basically doing true damage. It's gonna take a longer, and essentially if you're full build, you're just gonna be playing Lethality Yorick with 18 less lethality and a much weaker Profane active, which hurts because I mean lethality as a stat is incredibly important. I mean that's the entire name of the build, and Profane is one of the biggest core items in the build. I think the strawberry on top of the cake that pisses me off about this is that they detail champions like Aatrox is why they nerfed the Profane Hydra. Of course it's always fucking Aatrox. I hope that Riot takes a step back and maybe buffs Profane a bit. It's still compulsory and you're still gonna go it on the Lethality Yorick because you need to. It's just a wave clear, lethality, combo damage, you need it right now, right? But it definitely does feel a lot worse, and I hope that they do revert it because it does feel a lot worse right now. I highly doubt that we'll revert Grudge, which is unfortunate, but they said that they want this, and honestly that's fine, but please give me back the Profane, please, I beg of you. Now you might be thinking two things now. Lethality Yorick sounds really bad, and also Slugdog, have you ever given a blowjob before? And those are valid concerns, so just let me address this now. Lethality Yorick, I'm gonna be honest, it's not in the best state. You can still do really funny stuff now, still with like ghouls one-shotting an enemy and chasing them down, and it's still fucking funny and stupid. And ghouls still rip you like butter, but if anyone ever gets into your melee range, any bruiser or juggernaut, the Profane and Grudge damage nerfs really do hurt, and you don't have enough damage to often kill them. I think Lethality Yorick is now highly specialized for more experienced Yoricks, and even still, I'm going to stop going it as frequently because frankly, it's quite weak right now. I'm just gonna go Bruiser instead, a build that's 10 times more versatile and consistent with almost no risk. Is Lethality Yorick completely dead? No, but should you play it over the BRUISER YORICK? It's hard to honestly say. I'll still play it because it's fun and you can make it work, but it's like, come on, Shojin Cleaver, Leandries, like that build is super comparable to lethality damage, and it's tankier still, and super flexible. And that's it for the most of the split changes, a lot of stuff. I'm gonna just give a quick rundown again from the top. BRUISER YORICK is amazing, and setups like Conquer and Grasp are really good right now, especially with Triforce and Hullbreaker. Iceborn Gauntlet is also a very solid item now, it gives more damage to machine procs, and lethality is quite a bit weaker now with the nerfs to Profane and Grudge. All of these are really interesting changes, and I'm now going to commit disappearance forever because they killed Lethality Yorick. Unless there's any cute girls that wanna make out with me. Anyway, Slugdog out. Later, guys.
And then nerfing Yorick and buffing YOUU. I'm quitting League of Legends. I'm gonna be a professional porn star on OnlyFans. See you later, guys. It was nice knowing you all. Still hit me up. Cute Tigos, DM's open.
And they're not nerfing Yorick. What the fuck, Riot? Can you please stop playing in my heart? This is so not epic skippity toilet cool. I don't know how to end videos, so I guess I'll just if there's still any cute girls that wanna yeah, these nerfs don't matter. Grass will still be good. But Conquer Yorick, we up.